Good evening and welcome to episode 89 of the Jacksonian. I'm yours truly, Jackson Johnson, and I'm here with the Patriots from Sports Illustrated writer himself, very good friend of the Jacksonian, the one and only Mike Debate, as we'll be going over quite a lot about the New England Patriots making that magic throughout the 2025 season. And let me tell you something, folks, it's going to be a wild ride. How you doing today, good buddy?
I'm doing well, Jackson. Thank you so much for having me on, and it's always an honor to be on your show. But we were talking a little before we hit record here, and before we started to, get into the show, and it really is. It's one of the first times that we've been able to do one of these shows where the Patriots are actually a winning team, where they do have a chance to make a deep playoff run. So. Foxborough is a buzz right now with playoff fever. The Patriots are the hottest team in the town right now, and all signs are pointing to a pretty long playoff run here in New England, and we certainly hope that's going to be the case.
Oh man, it's looking like it should be because I mean, Mike Vrabel's making that magic, and I still just kind of say, "Damn you" to the Titans. Apparently, idiot. They made idiot move, get rid of him. Like, oh no, we're not gonna. We're gonna get rid of Vrabel. We're just it's just been bad moves all over the place in Tennessee. But yeah, for those who don't know about you and the magic that you create, would you like to tell the audience a bit about yourself?
Oh, absolutely. I'm the lead reporter, or one of the lead reporters for New England Patriots on SI, which is the Sports Illustrated team equivalent for the New England Patriots. So we're covering anything and everything related to your New England Pats, and it's been a fun year covering that team for on SI. We've got a great team of writers there, so check out all of that work definitely at on SI. It's my second tour of duty with Sports Illustrated. My first time around, I was pulling double duty. I was not only the beat reporter for the Patriot Maven back then, is what they called us, that ended up morphing into Patriots Country, and now we're New England Patriots on SI. I was also the host of Locked On Patriots for just a little under 6 years for the Locked On Podcast Network, and recently, moved away from that and into my new role here at Sports Illustrated, and it's been a great run. I've been really thoroughly satisfied and thoroughly happy with the career progression that I've had, but it's been great to be able to watch this team kind of come from the ground up and really having a few rough seasons here in New England since Tom Brady has left. For the first time in a long while, there's a lot of optimism surrounding this team, and it's fun. Patriots football is fun again, and it's fun for the people who get a chance to cover it each and every day. So I always count my blessings to do something I love to do every single day.
There you go, man. That's the best ever. When you're working at something that you love, it doesn't feel like a day of work, and that's the best part.
Exactly. Absolutely. So well said.
Oh, there you go. But I keep thinking back to that Sunday night football game where it was the Patriots and the Bills on October 5th.
Hmm.
And I can't help but feel like that's been a major turning point for the New England Patriots this season.
Absolutely. It definitely was a turning point. And look, when you have the opportunity to topple who has been a team that's been the king of this AFC East division for the last few years, since the Patriots had kind of ended their dynasty era under Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, it's been the Bills that have taken the baton, and they haven't let it go. So for the New England Patriots to come in on their home field and be able to not only beat the Buffalo Bills, but also prove to everyone on a national stage, hey, you know what? We can play with anybody. We can hang with anybody. That was huge for Mike Vrabel. That was huge for Drake May. It was huge for all of the players on this team because it kind of pointed them in a new light. And I got to give a lot of credit to this Patriots coaching staff, the front office, for keeping this team focused because they haven't let that light get too bright. They haven't bought into their own hype. They're taking every game one at a time. And it really does all come back to that win against Buffalo. I think it proved to them that they were able to win close games. They were able to win games that maybe people thought they shouldn't win. And then what they can do from there is they could then parlay that into success in other parts of the schedule. So they haven't tasted defeat since that time. And actually, it was the week before they started the winning streak against the Carolina Panthers, but then they came back through and they have not tasted defeat since. So at this point, the Patriots right now are playing at a very high level, and they're going to need to be against the Cincinnati Bengals this weekend. But this win streak has been a lot of fun for all of us up here in Foxborough, especially those who are in that locker room. No one's having more fun than the New England Patriots right now.
Oh man, they're just making that magic all over the place this season. It's like I was thinking, about the Patriots leading the AFC East. It's like I didn't think I'd be saying that like this.
Mhm.
I don't think anybody did, but it's just there again. Vrabel, he's been the right man for the job from the start for New England, and he's just making terrific moves all over the place. I mean, oh man, I hate looking at the Titans this season.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh.
it's tough. I can definitely understand where you guys are coming from, and especially seeing the success that Mike is having now in New England, it's got to be a double-edged sword. You're happy for him in one regard because you always like to see guys that leave your organization do well if you've got good memories about them. There are some exceptions to that. I do fully recognize it. But at the same time, you're also having a sense of what if. And I know it's a rough year for the Titans, but I think they've got a good core, a good nucleus there, and some young players that can really help this team. I think what they need to do is they need to, find a philosophy, a coaching staff, and a front office that's going to work together to help this team move forward. That's a great fan base. It's a great hotbed for NFL action. Tennessee is a great place to visit, and it's, I think, a desirable destination for free agents if they want to go there. The problem is that they just have to reestablish that base, and once they do, it's almost like Field of Dreams, right, Jackson? If you build it, they will come. Yeah, I think they'll get back to where they need to be.
Yes.
The Patriots did something similar. I mean, let's not forget, a couple of years ago, players were absolutely saying to their agents, I do not want to go there. Don't even put them on my docket. Don't even let them come across my desk because that's not something I'm willing to do. I do not want to go to New England. And now in 2 years' time with Mike Vrabel, you're looking at this team potentially being one of the premier destinations for free agents this year. And that's a hell of a turnaround in 2 years from being essentially rejected by every major free agent out there. And then now showing that you have the ability to bring in some of the top free agents in the league. That turnaround can happen very quickly. So if you've got some Titans fans that are listening out there, don't let what the Patriots are doing discourage you. If anything, look at it
No.
as a goal. Look at it as something and say, hey, you know what? All we need is the right guy to come in and show that he can lead this team in the locker room and onto the field. Yeah, you'll be cooking. You'll be ready to roll. So any team can do it, and the Pats definitely are experiencing their renaissance this year.
Agreed. And it was obvious that Vrabel was the fall guy for the Titans, unfortunately, but also as we saw, like the Patriots chewed up the Browns like a chicken nugget in the regular season. But Kevin Stefanski, I can't help but feel like he's blamed for everything that's gone on in Cleveland, but it's not his fault. He's not the one that drafted Shador Sanders. He's not the one that created that kerfuffle of a quarterback mess in Cleveland. That's the GM that made all that mess on him. And unfortunately, I feel like we're like it's obvious Stefanski's going to get fired from Cleveland. He's just another one of those coaches going to get fired. He didn't ask for it. I mean, like the Baker Mayfield season, his first year, 2020, they got that playoff win. First time since the 90s. Where I believe it's the 94 season.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the year to go to the movies.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Cleveland Browns, they're looking for their draft day moment. That's exactly what they want. Get Kevin Costner or Sonny Weaver in there. Maybe he can work some magic, and get Vontae Mack in there, and all of a sudden you're cooking. But no, all kidding aside, from what you're saying about Stefanski, the handwriting seems to be on the wall. I think he's getting unfairly blamed for a lot of what's going on in Cleveland. He'll be the fall guy. We've seen it happen all over the NFL where, either the media or fan base or whoever is going to lock in on a certain guy, and they're going to get the blame for everything that's going on, and they're going to end up taking the fall. So who picks up the baton and who carries this team forward? I think that's where things are going to get interesting for a lot of teams this offseason. We knew it was coming to New England last year, and it was just a matter of how things were going to work out. And I don't think there's anybody in New England right now that can deny that the fates were smiling on us when Mike Vrabel became available, and when the Patriots made him the head coach. It's definitely made all the difference this year for this team.
Well, and also just looking at what happened with the Deshaun Watson situation, where it's like, oh well, we're going to go to a Super Bowl because of Deshaun Watson. Well, guess what? You don't even win a playoff game, let alone go to the playoffs with them. And when you do go to the playoffs, it's because of Joe Flacco, and you shelled out like millions and millions of dollars for Deshaun Watson. Like again, not Stefanski's fault. That's the GM's fault.
Right.
I mean, it's so terrible. It was bad management by the Browns. It's like 2021, we're sitting there thinking, oh, the Browns have finally turned a corner. They're finally going to be like the old days of Jim Brown, and they're going to be like where they were with in the 50s, 60s, just rocking and rolling. But no, it is a complete disaster over there. And I'll be honest, if you give Kevin Stefanski a stable situation, let him work his magic, he can be your Nets Mike Vrabel in the NFL. I genuinely believe that. Give him a stable situation. Don't mess with it. You'll be good to go.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that with guys like that, especially, and I'm seeing it so often with Vrabel this year, but with someone like a Kevin Stefanski, because you brought him up, they're players' coaches. The players love to play for these guys. They will run through the wall, the old proverbial, colloquialism that, I'll run through a wall for that guy. They'll do that because he inspires them. He inspires them. He shows that he cares about them. He'll be hard on them, and that's exactly what a professional athlete needs. They need hard coaching in order to be able to succeed, but they know the fine line that can't be crossed, and that's something that Vrabel has brought into New England this year in a manner I haven't seen in quite some time. It's been a long time since I've seen players that are genuinely happy to come to work each and every day. You find that in New England right now. They love playing for Mike, and I think in so many ways, when you look at someone like either a Stefanski or anyone that has that type of reputation as being a true players coach, you'll find that the players in this league, the way the NFL is currently constituted, absolutely love playing for guys like that. So while it's important to understand the X's and the O's and be an innovative playmaker and a play caller, and guys that can dial up so many different ways to beat you on the gridiron, culture building is a big part of that. And I think Mike Vrabel's success in New England is going to give GMs, owners, front offices a lot of pause now when they're looking to bring in a new head coach. It's not going to be just about the X's and O's on the field anymore. It's going to be about the culture they're bringing with them and the philosophy they bring with them. And I think that's kind of your new wave when it comes to the types of coaches that'll succeed in this next generation of NFL superstars.
Oh, agreed. Here's an idea I just thought of. So let's say Zach Taylor gets fired by the Bengals, which, I mean, he should, in my opinion. What if they replaced him with Kevin Stefanski? Ooh.
Well, Baltimore, Cincinnati is such an interesting situation because the infrastructure in terms of the players that you need to succeed is there. What's going to happen with Trey Hendrickson in the offseason? A lot of people are still wondering that. But you invest heavily in T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Joe Burrow is still one of the best quarterbacks in this league when he's healthy. And you definitely want to be able to hook on to someone like him. That defense in Cincinnati obviously is having its difficulties this year. But if you invest in that infrastructure and that defense and you get a coach that is willing to accept his players, that is willing to work with his players and show them that they're all that matters to him, yeah, I think you've got a definite, recipe for success. So that's going to be, if indeed the job does become available, that's going to be a very highly sought after job, in my opinion. Maybe the gem of the coaching carousel that might be available in early January. I think a lot of eyes are going to be on Cincinnati if that job becomes available.
Oh yeah, I mean Black Monday is coming, folks.
Mm.
Black Monday is coming. Speaking of which, the Patriots Bengals are playing on Sunday. And that Super Bowl rematch. Oh well, the Giants suck. No worries. Oh man, but yeah. So the Patriots Bengals, like you got your winning streak coming in,
Mhm.
and just looking at this game, what are the matchups to watch for in Patriots Bengals on Sunday afternoon on CBS?
Well, to me, it all begins if you're looking with what the Patriots are going to do is who's going to be under center for the Cincinnati Bengals. There's still some conjecture as to whether or not you're going to see the return of Joe Burrow or if Joe Flacco is going to take the ball. Here we are recording at about quarter to 8 p.m. on Friday, November 21st on the East Coast. And it's looking likely that Flacco may end up being the guy. That a lot of what we saw with Burrow this week was an attempt to see exactly how far that he could go to try to get into game shape. I know we're hearing an awful lot that Thanksgiving is probably going to be when we'll see Joe Burrow back on the field, but stranger things have happened. The Bengals still have until 4 p.m. on Saturday to activate him. So if they do that, he's fair game. He may be able to get in there and get some reps. So if he does end up playing, what does this do now to the Patriots defense? The Pats defense has been one of the best defenses at stopping the run all year long. They're more middle of the pack when it comes to defending the pass. So if Joe Burrow decides that he wants to test that secondary, he may have an extra minute or two to make his decision because Patriots star defender Milton Williams is on the shelf now. He's going to be on the injured reserve list for the next 4 games with a high ankle sprain. So now, if you're Joe Burrow, you might want to test that secondary a little bit with those extra time that you might have because the pass rush is not as strong as it had been. Now that leads itself into matchups, and you say, okay, well, Christian Gonzalez is probably going to match up with T. Higgins. But if you got Joe Burrow throwing the football, that could be a recipe for disaster if Higgins is able to get an extra quick step on Christian Gonzalez. That's going to leave other guys open all over the field, and that could be a definite problem for the Patriots. So what I would do if I'm the coach of the Pats right now, I would actually put Christian Gonzalez matched up one-on-one with Andre Yurcevich. I would probably look at him now as being the secondary receiver, put your best guy on the secondary, and then take their best option, their best pass catcher, and double team him with Carlton Davis, who's a physical corner. He's not afraid to get in there, contest the catch, maybe give you a little shot every now and then. I think that may be to his advantage, and maybe take someone off the bench like an Alex Austin, who might be able to come in and help with the double team. And of course, Marcus Jones would be in the slot. You'll probably see him match up with Charlie Jones. I think that'll be a good matchup for the two of those guys in the secondary. So that's what I'm watching from the defensive side of the ball. On offense, I think Drake May is going to try to air the ball out a little bit. This is a bad run defense by Cincinnati right now. They come in ranked dead last, number 32 in stopping the run. But the Patriots are still a little banged up in that area. Travion Henderson has been great the last couple of games, but you want to be careful about overloading him too early in the season when you've got a long playoff run coming if you're the Patriots. So you want to conserve a little energy there, maybe take a little bit off of the plate of guys like Ramondre and, of course, Travion Henderson. So I think they're going to try to air things out a little bit, and that's where the secondary of the Bengals is going to come into play. Drake is going to test them. Look for Kayshon Boutte, Stephon Diggs, Matt Collins to test those waters deep. And then if the Patriots need some intermediate work in the middle of the field, I think he goes to good old reliable Hunter Henry. But don't be a bit surprised to see Drake May passing the ball more than handing it off on Sunday. I think that's how they're going to be able to find success against the Cincinnati defense.
Well, there you go. I can't help but feel like that this is the easiest stretch ever, honestly. That tail end, because it's like there again, we don't know where Burrow's gonna be back or not this Sunday.
Mm.
The Giants are just a complete disaster, obviously. And the Bills and Ravens are obviously tough. But the Jets, nobody's scared of the Jets, and the Dolphins. I don't see that they're gonna get chewed up. They're gonna get put through a wall, as Bill Burr says on F is for Family, where he says, "I will put you through that effing wall."
Yeah, I mean, you look at the rest of the schedule, and you actually have it up on the screen right now. And to me, this is interesting because with the Bengals matchup, obviously there's some conjecture, there's some question about who you're going to face there, right? So the Bengals could be a tougher matchup than a lot of people are expecting. It's one I still expect the Patriots to win. The Giants matchup, yeah, that's going to be at home. It's a Monday night game, national audience. Drake May is going to show up. I do believe they take that one. And then they go into the bye. You come back on the 14th, and you've got the Buffalo Bills, and then back-to-back weeks. Then you go on the road to Baltimore, and you take on the Ravens at M&T Bank Stadium. These two matchups are going to be so crucial for the Patriots. And I'm not even talking wins or losses. I'm just talking about their approach to these two games. Every year, I always circle the game coming out of the bye week as being one of those matchups that is a key matchup to watch. In other words, one of the more poignant matchups to define the season, because you can always tell a team's buy-in coming by coming out, or I should say, what you're going to do is you're going to determine whether or not this team is 100% bought into the cause when they come back from a bye. Now, I don't think you're going to have motivational problems with the New England Patriots. These guys are bought in. They love to play for Mike Vrabel, and they're going to continue to do that. So I don't expect the effort to be any less. I haven't been able to say that in the course of the last few years. It's been very difficult for me to kind of go out on that limb. But bottom line, I do believe that this team is bought in. They're ready to go. The question is, how effective will they be? Is there going to be any rust? Are they going to be a step slower than they were before the bye? They're going to have to come in, and they're going to have to come in with that same resolve, and they're going to have to come in playing at as high of a level as they were when they essentially went into the bye. If they do that, and they can take care of business in those two games, that really puts the league on notice. Then all of a sudden, you're talking about a team that might be contending for a first round bye and maybe the number one seed in the conference. Also, you're dealing with a team that everyone who's going to be qualifying for the playoffs knows that the road to the Super Bowl is going to go through Foxborough. And we've seen this year after year in the Brady Belichick days. This is a tough place to play in January and trying to qualify for a Super Bowl berth. So a lot can happen in those two games for the Patriots if the fates allow and if the New England Patriots come in and take care of business. But those are going to be two very tough matchups. Baltimore is coming back right now, especially with the re-arrival, or I should say, of Lamar Jackson. They're going to be ready to play, and they're going to be ready to go. And I still believe Buffalo's best football is still left inside them, and I think at that point they will be playing it. I think it's going to be a tough matchup between those two teams. Not saying the Patriots can't do it or they won't do it. I'm just saying I think it's going to be a little bit tougher than maybe some Patriots fans believe right now, because the Pats are really clicking on all cylinders and the Bills seem like they're reeling a little bit. I still don't want to write that epitaph for the Buffalo Bills just yet. I still think they got more fight left in them, and that's going to be a tough matchup at home coming out of the bye.
Well, and as I've got the AFC playoff picture pulled up, that's funny to look at, where it's like, oh, Broncos Patriots fighting for one. Same with the Colts, and I don't see the Steelers holding on to the AFC North very long. I mean, I think the Steelers will once again do enough to get a winning record, which that just it's like a Phineas and Ferb episode where
Right.
where it's just same thing over and over again, but with the Steelers.
Well, again, I think it's something where you need to look at the division that they play in. You need to look at the remaining schedule and look at their roster and how they're constituted. Pittsburgh is always an anomaly. There are times where they look like a true number one seed contender and that they really should be in the mix for that discussion of best teams in the conference. And then there are times where you look at it and you say maybe they're playing with a little bit of fool's gold. So at this point, take them for what they are. They're a 6-4 team. Obviously heading into this, these next few weeks are going to be crucial for everyone to be able to identify exactly what they're going to be like. They've already experienced their bye week, so now it's a matter of putting games together, stacking wins together, and trying to finish the season strong. But you look at that top four, Jackson, and it's amazing. It brings you back to the early 2000s when you see the Broncos and the Patriots and the Colts and the Steelers and the Chargers, at the top of these divisions. Really does. It gives you like old Brady days flashbacks, and I think we're loving it here in New England. It really is kind of like everything coming full circle.
I think it was like the 2004 season where the Broncos and the Colts ended the regular season with one another, and then ended the season as a whole. Well, the Broncos season ended with getting smacked by the Colts. Like it was like I remember I was like a 7-year-old boy watching that game on CBS. Like I
Mm-hmm.
think my grandfather and my mama's side of the family had that game on. So
Oh
that
yeah.
oh man, it was like it was fun watching the playoffs that day.
Yeah. You know what? It's always fun going back and looking at days gone by, especially for Patriots fans. These last few years, you haven't had a whole lot to root for in the present. So what do? You go back and you relive the glory days. I know Pats fans and everyone I speak to that's close to the team or that has an emotional investment in this team is hoping that there are some good memories that are written this year. And the way this team is playing, it's hard to argue the converse. So hopefully, Patriots are not done writing their postseason lore. Maybe we're about to begin a new chapter up here in New England.
I think that's what it looks like because you're definitely seeing a new chapter come in New England, and it doesn't surprise me to see the AFC West just getting stacked. I mean, I heard people say that a couple years back that the AFC West is going to be the new AFC East. No, it's not. No,
Mm.
it's not. Because I mean, yeah, I know it's like the Chiefs always dominate the West, but there's always somebody putting in a dogfight with KC, especially the
Mm.
LA Chargers.
Oh yeah,
I mean, oof, like the Chargers.
absolutely.
Oh, I mean, Chargers are fighting them. Now you got the Bronx fighting them. The Raiders, I get that they're a disaster this season, but don't throw the baby out with the bathwater on Pete Carroll. And
Absolutely, I agree with you there. And don't
ugh,
forget, Tom Brady is as competitive as they come. He will not want to sit back and watch a team that he has an ownership stake in, consistently finish in the cellar of a division. He's going to do whatever he can to make sure that that team rises above the fray right now. So, yeah, this is not going to be the year for the Raiders, but I'm not ready to write them off for the foreseeable future. They'll be in the mix because they've got the money and they've got the means to be able to attract some interesting free agents, and players do want to go and play there. So it'll be very interesting to see how the Raiders kind of factor into that divisional mix for the next few years.
oh yeah, they're gonna make a lot of chocolate. That's for sure. A lot of it. They're gonna make a lot of chocolate. I'm not messing with anybody in the West Division. It's like trying to mess with Marshall Dillon on Gunsmoke. It ends
That's it. You
bad.
do not do that. Absolutely.
No, it's just a bad move right there. But yeah, like the Chiefs being 5-5, that's not something I thought I would see. But just looking at these three teams, which surprises you the most of each of these teams being 5-3, 5-5? The Chiefs, Ravens, or Texans? Which surprises you the most?
I'd have to go with the defending champs, and simply because the Chiefs have been so dominant over the course of the last few years. They still have arguably the best player in the league in Patrick Mahomes. They still have Steve Spagnuolo coordinating defense, who, in my opinion, that defense has even eclipsed the offense in their importance to what they do each and every day. Travis Kelce is still Travis Kelce. He's still someone who rises to the occasion in big games and can still, strap that on your back and kind of carry you when you need that type of support. But I think it's such a testament to how difficult it is each and every year, not only to repeat as divisional champs, not only to repeat as conference champs, but to repeat as Super Bowl champions and continually be a perennial contender year after year after year. It is extremely difficult. It's a run that you try to impart wisdom and counsel to those that have never seen it before. And I guess that's my diplomatic way of saying, Jackson, that I've been trying to tell Chiefs fans this for the last few years. Enjoy every moment, enjoy every year, because there's going to come a year where you're not going to make it to the top of the mountain, where you're going to be clawing and scratching and trying to get over that hump, and you dial it up and it's still just not there. People forget, because the Patriots had won so many Super Bowls in the course of 2 decades' time, that there were years where there were lean times where the Patriots won the division. Some may say by default. I happen to think that's kind of a weak argument, because there are teams that played in those divisions that year that were still some formidable teams. The Patriots were just that much better than their competition. But there were years that the Patriots didn't make it to the Super Bowl. They didn't win the Super Bowl. They didn't even necessarily qualify for the playoffs in a couple of those years. So as a dynasty, you're going to have those down times. It's how do you respond to the adversity? How do you take those rough times and then be able to come back? That, to me, is going to be the true test of this Chiefs dynasty. Not whether or not they make it to the playoffs this year, or not whether or not they have a deep run in them. This may be a year where they need to reset a little bit. If that's the case, how do they come back next year? How do they reinvent themselves? The Patriots were very, very good at keeping themselves in contention year after year. Bill Belichick had them in the divisional race every single year. Tom Brady always gave you a puncher's chance anytime you got on the field. You need to see that out of Andy Reid. You need to see that out of Patrick Mahomes. I have full confidence in both of those gentlemen that they can do it. But it's going to be whether or not it does happen, whether or not they get the buy-in of their teammates around them, the coaching staff, and the players that they bring in to complement what the Chiefs want to do. That being said, as long as you're the defending champions and there is a mathematical chance that you can make the playoffs, I'm simply not going to write you off just yet. I'm not willing to say that the Chiefs are completely dead this season. I still believe that their, again, best football is still inside them, and we're about to enter that time where playing your best football is an absolute necessity. They're running out of time to get off the mat, but they can still do it if they play their cards right. The question is whether or not they will, and whether or not the opponents that they're going to be facing are going to allow them to do it. So, long story short, I'm very surprised by what I've seen from the Chiefs. But if you think about it logically, a fall off from where they had been was inevitable, especially the way they lost the Super Bowl that year. That's a tough pill to swallow. And I think you're seeing the Chiefs right now reeling a little bit. How do they come back? How do they rebuild? That's going to be the true test of this dynasty.
Well, and I suspect Kelsey will likely retire after this season, and there's probably like a plan for the future for when Andy Reid decides, hey, I'm hanging up my hat, for Kansas City. There's a plan for that. I mean,
Of
like,
course.
yeah, but I've I've got good faith that they'll make great draft picks, because like the way they handled Tyreek Hill
Mhm.
after he left for the Dolphins, all those people say, "Oh, Tyreek Hill's gonna win a Super Bowl now with the Dolphins." Like, no, he's not. No, he's not. I mean, it's like, as much as I love Tua Tagovailoa, I love my Bama guy. You're not gonna see a Super Bowl for the Miami Dolphins. That's just not happening.
Mm.
I don't even think you're gonna see a playoff one, but unfortunately, I was correct. But as for the Chiefs, they're always in the Super Bowl still.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, Tyreek Hill was never the be all end all. And something tells me they've got something in the works for tight end.
Mm. Oh,
And
without any question. You don't get to that level of where the Chiefs have gotten to without knowing your bread and butter positions and what works, the security blankets for Patrick Mahomes, what needs to be done to keep him comfortable. The tight end position is vital, as it was to Tom Brady. I mean, you saw early on in Brady's, career where he would look to guys like Jermaine Wiggins and Christian Fourier, and they were big targets in the end zone for him. When he got Rob Gronkowski, they took that to another level, and that type of lightning in a bottle is so tough to catch. Patrick Mahomes had that right from the get-go. He had Travis Kelce right in his pocket from the moment he ascended to the starting role, and through his superstardom now and being a Super Bowl winner. The question is now, how do you keep it going? So you need to make sure that position is invested in, and you need to make sure that the guy coming in to take on the duties of number 87 is up to the challenge. And I think the Chiefs realize that, and I think they will do that. I think they will absolutely have someone, like you said, in place that's going to be able to help them move. I would invest a little bit more into the running back position. Take a little pressure off of Patrick. Don't necessarily have him running the ball or going off script as much. He's getting a little older. Those bumps and those bruises that he didn't feel 2 years ago, I guarantee you he's feeling now. And that's no knock to Patrick Mahomes. I mean, the guy does amazing things on the football field. But eventually, time does catch up with you. Even Tom Brady, Father Time, caught up with. And I didn't think it was possible, Jackson. I thought he was going to be the Benjamin Button of NFL stardom, and he was just going to keep playing through year after year. But eventually, it does catch up with you. So having that succession plan in place is paramount for any dynasty to succeed. You saw New England, they were able to weather the storm for about 20 years. Eventually, it will burn out as it did here in New England. But Kansas City is smart ownership group, smart front office. They draft well, they attract free agents, and you get an opportunity to play with one of the best to ever do it. They got a lot on their resume and a lot on their cover sheet that makes them a very attractive destination. So even if this is not their year, they're still going to be fine in the long run. I still don't look for them to fall off the cliff anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, because this season kind of feels like the 2008 season for the Patriots, but without the quarterback injury, because it's like, my word, it's so funny looking back at the Chiefs now, whereas back in the day, they were always that team that was always coming up short in the playoffs. Like 2013, when they lost to Colts, it was just another Chiefs moment, Chiefs cheaping in the playoffs. But now it's they're a powerful dynasty, and things have obviously changed in the world of pro football and in college football as well, especially in Chapel Hill. Bill Belichick this season, they're fighting for bowl eligibility in the first season. I don't know if it's going to be the only season, to be honest, because I mean, there's definitely that itch to come back in the NFL. I think Belichick wanted to just get back into coaching. Period. I mean, I don't think I'd be excited about Chapel Hill, North Carolina, unless it's college basketball, but that's probably just me. But yeah, this season has just been a disaster, unfortunately. And again, I think Belichick should just waited another month.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been the easiest of times if you're a Bill fan. I always enjoyed covering Bill up here in New England. I'm probably one of the very few media members in New England that'll say that and mean it. I always found him to be someone that gave you enough information to do your job. And I always found it fascinating to listen to him talk football, because anyone who knows more than me in the room, and generally whenever I'm in a room, there's usually quite a few people that do, but I always try to gravitate toward those that I think know the most in the room. And whenever I was in a room with Bill Belichick, I always assumed, and assumed correctly, by the way, that he knew more than anyone else did in the room about football. And he's a football coach. It's what he loves to do. I know last year he tried the media circuit tour and tried doing some podcasting and a lot of stuff that just didn't seem like it was the hand in glove fit that it should be for someone like Bill Belichick. He does love to coach. And it hasn't gone all that well in North Carolina this year. I think people forget that North Carolina is still not, like you said, a hotbed for college football and for people that are close to college football to gravitate towards. That's a basketball school, and it will be probably through Belichick's tenure, and it probably always will be because of the likes of Dean Smith and Michael Jordan and Roy Williams and all the great players that have come through Chapel Hill, contending, with Duke as the two top basketball programs in the country. Save for UCLA. Those They're iconic. They're indelible, and it's a part of college basketball hoopla. With NCAA football, it's not so much, and North Carolina has to fight for that. So there's going to be growing pains. There were going to be growing pains for Bill learning the nuances of the college game and knowing how to manage college players. I think that's something that also maybe people need to remember is that for the first time in his coaching career, he's dealing with college players. So how do you respond to that? How do you do that? How do you go forward and move forward? Um, yeah, I think the record surprises me a little bit, but I actually thought he'd have more struggle than success this year. So I'm not shocked by this in terms of how this season has gone. I think there have been seedlings of what you can see if they're able to put it all together, but it's going to take some time. And the question is does Bill Belichick want to invest that time in Chapel Hill, or does he have that itch to get back into the NFL? I know he put the statement out about the Giants job and said that I have no desire to leave North Carolina. I'm here. We're on to Wake Forest. He just crafted. Well, I don't know if he crafted that message. I have my theories about where that came from, but we'll leave that conversation for another day. But bottom line, he looks like he wants to commit multi-years to North Carolina. Now, is this a way for him to continue to save face in front of his players, and then once the season's over, he's putting out feelers for an NFL job? That's a possibility. Or is he really genuinely committed to North Carolina? Well, there's a third part of that too. Maybe the offers that he expects to come from the NFL, he knows are not going to be there. So he knows he better do damage control now to make sure that he's still the guy in Chapel Hill next year. So a lot to go on, but if Bill is going to have success down in North Carolina, it's going to take a couple of years before this team really gets to a level that's commensurate with his coaching ability. But make no mistake about it, Bill Belichick wants to be on the sidelines coaching football, and I still see a passion there. Some way, shape, or form, somewhere or another, he's going to be on the sidelines coaching in 2026. But maybe where he's going to be is a conversation for another day.
For sure. But like the game against Virginia, the South's oldest rivalry, like I personally thought it was a smart move to go for two. I mean, yeah, you lost. You were an inch short. But still, though, people are going to call you a genius when you win, but people are going to tell you what an idiot you are when you lose. But personally, I say that was a smart move. Mm-hmm. And that was quite the gamble to go for it. Because it's like, first off, the overtime rules in college, they're a little bit whack. I mean, not as whack as the NFL rules where it's you don't even have a double overtime or a triple overtime unless you go to the playoffs.
Right.
I would like to see the college overtime rules go back to the way they were from 1996 to 2018, or just at least move the 2-point conversion only overtimes back to fifth overtime like you did in the 2019 through 2020 season. I feel like some people just kind of forgotten that, and they just say, oh, that only started 2021. No, that started in 2019. I should know because I watched Virginia Tech, North Carolina on the ACC network. So there you go. It's like, but still, like the North Carolina Tar Heels, like the hype was there in week one. Mm-hmm. They get smacked off the face of the earth by TCU. They get smacked by Central Florida. They get smacked by Clemson. They lose a tight one to Cal. And, of course, that tight one to Virginia I mentioned. But then they get smacked off the face of the earth by Wake Forest on the CW. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. But I would like to see them beat Duke on Saturday. That would be cool. But and I hope that they end that North Carolina State losing streak this season.
Mm,
That would
yeah.
be
And I think if you're going to salvage any part of the season, and I think if you're going to have anything to hang your hat on going into next year, if you're the Tar Heels, this is a must win. This is an absolute. I mean, you made the point before. They're right now struggling for bowl eligibility, so they need every win that they can get. I think you can basically say every game from now until the end of the year is going to be a must win for this team, and they're going to have to put their best foot forward. But again, if you're Bill Belichick and you're serious about wanting to remain in Chapel Hill, yeah, this is one you have to have. You need that type of camaraderie. You need that type of era of good feelings, so to speak, even if it is just for a weekend. But beating Duke is going to be a huge, huge boon for this team if they can do it. Um, you know, Bill's coached in some of the biggest games in NFL history. He is not too. The moment is never going to get too big for Bill. The question is does he have enough in terms of the way he's prepared his team to rise to the occasion? This is going to be a good litmus test for this North Carolina team this weekend.
agreed. Agreed. And regardless of how long we see Belichick at Chapel Hill, obviously the Nets head coach I feel is going to be Steve Belichick.
Mm.
That's what I think it is because it's like, and I think that's part of the reason why he took this North Carolina job so that he could go, this to make sure my son will be all right. He's got a place to stay here in North Carolina, kind of like with Auburn basketball. Bruce Pearl's at Auburn, and his son Steven has taken over. I think the same thing has happened with Bill Belichick. And once the retirement announcement does come, then we're going to hear about Steve Belichick taking over. And that's the thing though, is I still kind of feel like North Carolina fire Matt Brown replaced with Belichick. I mean, that was a short-term move. If you were talking about for the long term, that's not good for the long term because it's like you don't even know how long Belichick's going to be there.
Right.
Like you're not thinking about 10 years from now. And
You're absolutely right. And I think that was the case when it happened. I think a lot of people were wondering and saying, well, okay, if you're going to set this team up long term, who knows how long Bill's going to coach, first of all. I mean, he's in, his 70s now. I mean, how much longer is he going to want to remain on the sidelines? And if he does want to remain on the sidelines for another number of years, how do we know he's not using us as a springboard for a year and then go back to the pros? We saw a good friend of his, Billy O'Brien, do that with Penn State. Stayed there for a year, did the turnaround a little bit, kind of brought himself back into where he needed to be in terms of a potential, coach in this league, and then he went back to the NFL. So all of these things kind of come together, and we'll see what happens with Bill. That Giants job being out there is still, I liken it to David Letterman and the Tonight Show way back in the day. You can have all the jobs you want, you can have anything that you want, and they can give you the world, but there's something appealing about that job. And as long as it's still available, you got to think Bill's always going to have one eye in that direction. So whether or not it actually comes to fruition or not is completely up for conjecture. I have no inside information telling me one way or another. It's just my honest opinion that as long as that job remains open, Bill Belichick is going to have at least the slightest shred of interest in who fills it.
wow. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the G-Men in New York. I keep calling them the New York Football Giants because, like, Chris Berman calls them that.
Absolutely.
Like, New York Giants in baseball. So it's like, well, that makes sense. Oh, man. But yeah, it's like the best part about being down is the way to go is up. And a bright side for North Carolina next season is they can have a better season next year than they have this year. Because like that's the thing I've noticed about when most of your losses have been by more than one possession. Usually those teams have a better season next year. And I think we could see something like that with North Carolina, especially when you got Miami coming to your backyard. And if a lot of people aren't sitting there thinking about Miami, North Carolina, that's where I could see North Carolina beating Miami. Because like Miami always loses when the spotlight isn't all on them.
That's true. It really is. And again, I think just watching and looking at how this is going to unfold is going to be true theater if you're a college football fan over the course of the next few weeks, months, and into next year as well. So a lot of eyes going to be on Chapel Hill to see what Bill does, to see what the Tar Heels are able to do, and then to see what the teams around the conferences are going to be able to do in terms of either letting North Carolina into that elite club, or if they're still on the outside looking in. A lot still to come in that area, in my opinion.
For sure, man. That is for sure. And with that, we put a bow on episode 89 of the Jacksonian, and we are at 11 episodes away from the magic number of 100. We would love to get to 100 before this year ends. But, for those who want to check out the magic you're making, Mike, where can the people find you, good buddy?
Once again, you can find my written work over at si.com/NFL/Patriots/on SI. You can catch my work and all the great work of all of our great writers at si.com over there. And we're covering your New England Patriots start to finish, hopefully through a long playoff run. So make us a part of your daily Patriots coverage. You can also hear me on the Patriots No Huddle podcast that I co-host alongside the great Derek Havens and my Patriots paisan, Steve Balistrieri. And also, Patriots on SI is launching their own podcast, All Patriots Talk. Myself and Ethan Hurwitz are going to be covering the Patriots from start to finish, from now until the final whistle blows on the final game of the season for your New England Patriots. Will that final game be in Santa Clara, California? We certainly hope so here on Patriots, All Patriots Talk. But that's where you can find me and all the work that I do.
And you can also give him a follow on MDebate NFL on @/Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at MikeDebate_NFL. And you can find him on MDebate NFL Blue Sky Social on Blue Sky. And as he says, blue sky is where skies are blue. I never forget that saying. And of course, you can check me out all right here on Jackson Johnson 979, where I'm 274 subs away from that magic number, 1,000 subscribers. Hope to get there before the year ends for sure, but if not, that's okay. That's what the new year is for. We'll definitely be getting to 1,000 subs. And of course, you can check out Jeffrey Only Talk Sports, Trevion Ware, and myself Monday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern, on Alabama Crimson Tide Live, including Monday's edition, where we will be joined by Kyle Loomis of E2C Network discussing the preview of the Iron Bowl. And Tuesday nights are Alabama Primetime Live with Trevion Ware and myself, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Thursday nights are the Alabama Call-In Show, 10 p.m. Eastern, as Only Talk Sports and I take your calls on the Crimson Tide. But we're moving it up a day early this next week because next Thursday is Thanksgiving. We don't want you to have to worry about what we're thinking on Thanksgiving. We want you to go spend time with your families because family's number one, ladies and gentlemen. So tell your friends, your family, and the cashiers a post about the magic that Jeffrey, Trevion, and myself are making on Alabama with the Voice of College Football. And we have you covered on the Alabama Eastern Illinois postgame show, although that's going to be much, much shorter than the Alabama Oklahoma postgame show. Just give you a heads up. And you can check out Lucas Hill, myself, on 8:30 Eastern Time Monday nights on SEC at the Voice of College Football for SEC Live, where we've got magic coming your way on SEC at the Voice of College Football. And for more updates, what we've got going on Alabama at the Voice of College Football, SEC at the Voice of College Football, the Jacksonian, and once a week appearances on the Paul Feinbaum Show, where the weekend's full of surprises, and my appearances on Locked On West Virginia with Mountaineer Paul for Jackson's World College Football. Check me out, Jats VOCFB on @/Twitter and on Instagram and Thursday, Jats543-908. And you can also give me a follow at Jackson Johnson 97 Blue Sky Social, where once again, my friend Mike says, where the skies are blue. And some say the skies are blue over at Blue Sky. Some say the skies are gray. Some say the skies are overcast. But I say to each their own. All right there. So like, comment, subscribe, click on the notification bell so you never miss no video whatsoever. And we will see you soon. Stay safe, stay warm. It's cold out. Have a good night, everybody.